Okay, Jesse also asks, I would like Tom to comment on the binary nature of reality and its seemingly paradoxical truths, such as competition versus cooperation, predator versus prey, collective wills versus individual will. Um, my mind wants to choose one understanding over another, but it seems both are true. Tom supports love over fear and cooperation over competition, and collectives will or collective will over an individual's. But the reality is, I'm an individual, and I don't often want crazy collective telling me how to live my life. I feel like I'm living in a society that is continually increasing rules and restrictions and increasing rules and restricting common sense and free will.
Okay. The reason that he feels that way, that his free will and his choices are being constrained in his society, isn't because the society is becoming more collective. It's because the society is becoming more fearful. It's the fear that creates those issues, not the cooperation or working together. People, particularly in Western culture, particularly those coming from a capitalist viewpoint, have this fear of the collective, in that the collective is a machine that tells everybody else what to do, when they can do it, and how to do it. It's the it's the experiments that Karl Marx wanted to have the people own everything. Well, the people can't really own everything. Somebody has to run it, and somebody makes decisions, and those people that run it and make decisions become the people who are in charge, and everybody else becomes the people who do what they're told. And that doesn't work out very well. That is a collective based on fear. Fear-based collectives will end up like that. They will decrease a person's individual freedom. But it's the fear-based that's creating that. It's not the collective. You see, now if you have a group that is cooperating, not because they're forced to cooperate, because they want to cooperate. You have a group that is love-based, not fear-based. Now, what that means is that instead of thinking about what can I get and how can I keep it and how much can I get, they're thinking about how can I contribute? How can I help? What can I do for you? You see? So if you have love-based people thinking about other, then if they are cooperative in some kind of a collective cooperative interaction, then the individual has more personal freedom. It has a greater decision space, more choices, more things that they can do. They're much freer and much more able to express themselves as individuals than they would ever be in any fear-based culture, whether it be individualistic or collective. It's the fear-based is what causes the problem, not whether it's individual or collective. In a collective, love-based culture, you have maximum individual freedom, maximum choice. People are more able to do whatever it is they want and have fewer restrictions and fewer things that they have to do than any other form of interaction. So it's just a confusion because we come from a fear-based mindset. Our whole existence is in our own fear-based culture, our own fear-based, we're individuals and we're fear-based. It's the fear, the ego, the belief that drives us and drives our choices. That's how we see the world. We see the world through fear. And when we think of a collective, we think of that collective as being fear-based. Somebody in charge, whoever's in charge, tells us what to do, So everybody's kind of the peasant, except for the people in charge, and those people's lives are regulated by those in charge. Well, yes, that's the way a fear-based collective would work, and we can't imagine any other kind of situation. A love-based collective, or even a love-based individualism, we can't imagine it. We have no idea what that might be like, and therefore we think it probably doesn't exist because we've never experienced it, and that's kind of the problem with Jesse was expressing that fear. This collective thing's awful. It's when people tell you what you have to do and where you have to go, and what kind of job you have to have, and when you have to go to work, and et cetera, et cetera. But that's has nothing to do with whether it's collective or individualistic. That has only to do with whether it's based in fear or not. So you have an individualistic culture based on fear, and you just have a bunch of people who are each trying to grab everything that they can grab, and whoever floats to the top has power, and whoever doesn't, and it's all individual based. It's how much everybody can grab. Well, that's not exactly a wonderful place to be either. That's the way we in the West live in cultures that emulate that ethic to a large degree. So, any case, that's the problem he's having. He's having a fear-based viewpoint of a collective culture that worries him. He knows that his individualistic culture that he has now is restrictive, causes all kinds of problems, is difficult to get along in, and people are full of greed and self-centeredness and that kind of thing. But at least there's nobody telling him what to do. See, and in a collective, somebody would be telling him what to do. That's not what collective means. Collective just means you cooperate. If there's something you can see to do that would be helpful, you want to do it. It's not that somebody has to make you do it. You want to do it. And if it's not something that you want to do, then you'll find some other way to help and be part of the solution. And you'll do that. That's why you have a lot more individualistic freedom and a love-based collective that's cooperative. I know, hard for people to understand. They say, yeah, but they don't believe it because all of their experience is in a fear-based system, and they can't make that leap to see that in a collective based on cooperation and caring for everybody optimizes their own personal individual self.